Which one of the following is not a overlapping figure of the prismatic? That is, formalism is not here. Okay, so nepotism, bazaar, canteen, and polynormatism is there. Formalism is not a overlapping feature of prismatic society by Rick's. Prismatic society is a society feature the fused and the diffracted. In a prismatic, new and modern structure designed to perform important functions. पॉलिटिकल में ब्यूरोक्रेटिक होता है, इकोनॉमिक में बाजार कैंटीन होता है, सोशल सिस्टम दैट इज़ द क्लैक्स एंड कल्चरल सिस्टम दैट इज़ द पॉलीनॉर्मेटिज्म एंड नॉर्मनेसनेस एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम दैट इज़ नेपोटिज्म. सो कल्चरल इज़ व्हाट दैट इज़ क्लैक्ट, सोशल इज़ दैट इज़ क्लैक्ट. तो सोशल में क्या आता है, दैट कम्स द क्लैक्ट्स. नेक्स्ट वन इज ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ मैन एंड मटीरियल टू अकम्प्लिश ए पर्पस दैट वॉज बाय द निग्रो. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड द डायरेक्शन ऑफ द ह्यूमन एंड मटेरियल. ह्यूमन एंड मटेरियल की बात विफनर ने की थी. डायरेक्शन, कोऑर्डिनेशन एंड कंट्रोल, और ये बात किसने बोली थी, दिस इज़ बाय द एल्डिवाइट. एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन हैज़ टू डू गेटिंग थिंग्स डन, दैट वाज द लूथर बुलिक. सो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ द मैन एंड द मटेरियल टू अकम्प्लिशिंग द पर्पस, दैट इज़ निग्रो. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड डायरेक्शन ऑफ द ह्यूमन एंड मटेरियल, दैट वाज विफनर. Direction, coordination and control, L.D. White. Administration has to do getting things done, that was Gulick. Which among the technique is called to improve the peacetime decision making, that was known the operational research. So peacetime का मतलब होता है operational research. The operational research is an analytical method, problem solving, and that was operational research is the application of scientific method to improve the effectiveness of operation, decision and management, so that critical problem can be solved. And the operational research technique is called the decision analysis. Help the organization optimizing, enhancing the planning, improving overall decision making process. अरेंज द फॉलोइंग करना है, तो इसमें सबसे पहले क्या आएगा, दैट इज़ जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी, देन डायरेक्टर, देन अंडर सेक्रेटरी, देन विल बी द असिस्टेंट सेक्रेटरी ऑफ द. तो सबसे पहले जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी, फिर डायरेक्टर. ओके, नाउ ये रहा. सबसे पहले सेक्रेटरी, देन एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी, देन जॉइंट. एडिशनल के नीचे जॉइंट आता है, फिर डायरेक्टर, डिप्टी सेक्रेटरी एंड अंडर सेक्रेटरी. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज रिटन द रॉबर्ट टी गोलम्बस्की. सो बिहेवियरल अप्रोच टू पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन नहीं लिखा था, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन डेवलपमेंट लिखा था, पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ द पब्लिक मैनेजमेंट भी लिखा था, एंड द मैनेजमेंट डाइवर्सिटी ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. बट बिहेवियरल वाला गोलम्बस्की का नहीं था. सो गोलम्बस्की इज़ द रिसर्च प्रोफेसर ऑफ द पॉलिटिकल साइंस मैनेजमेंट एट द यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ द जॉर्जिया. And organization development in public administration, organization development, properties and public sector features, cases and learning, the design by Golembiewski. Behavioral approach जो था, that was by the Robert Prisness. Who among the following said that member of a bureaucracy needs statesmanship which cannot be tested through the examination? So this was given by the Karl Marx. So Marx is the critical of the recruitment of member of the bureaucracy. Karl Marx say that the member of the bureaucracy need the statesmanship which cannot be tested through the examination. Marx says the bureaucracy takes itself to be the ultimate purpose. Consider the following about the strategic decision. So rationality is sole criteria, that is not true. Take in the top organization, high risk and improve the new program. Rationality is the sole criteria, that was not given. Strategic decision are the decision that are environment, taken the top, high risk and involve the new program, but rationality that is not in that. So now the method of the organizing budget by the program and focusing on measuring, that was known as the performance budget. So the method of organization budget program focus on the measuring results and it emphasizing the performance. Kasturi Rangan committee, that was the formation of the new company act. Justice Lodha committee, that was for the reforms in the Santhanam committee, it was establishing the vigilance, and Irani committee, that was the company act. So Kasturi Rangan for the human resource development and national education policy. Justice Lodha committee, that was for the Mukul Mudgal, and report in the called the reforms within the BCCI, that was Lodha committee. Santhanam for the vigilance 1964, and the Irani committee, it's expert committee for the new company act. Now 10. Who among the following direct representative of the Mughal government So that was the Faujdar. So the Faujdar were the direct representative of the Mughal government, and Sikdar, it was the police chief and the magistrate in charge, and Khajandar is a treasurer and landlords who collected taxes and revenue. So that was a Jamidar. Now the term of office of the governor, that was article 158. कंडीशंस जो है दैट वाज गिवन 156 में गवर्नर के जो टर्म्स हैं कंडीशंस इन द 158 एंड पावर ऑफ द गवर्नर टू ग्रांट पार्डन दैट वाज 161 executive power that was 154 so pardon in 161 so deal with the term in the 156 and 158 deal with the conditions 161 deal with the power of the government for the suspend remit and commute and 154 deal with the executive power vested and through the officer subordinate to him chronologically बताना है so सबसे पहले है कि सिक्योरिटी एक्सचेंज बोर्ड सेबी देन इसके बाद में ट्राई आएगा देन इसके बाद में इरडा आएगा लास्ट में आएगा पेंशन फंड सो पिफिरडा विल बी लास्ट इरडा इससे पहले ना द सिक्योरिटी एक्सचेंज बोर्ड एंड ट्राई उसके बाद में आएगा इंश्योरेंस इरडा एंड पेंशन अरेंज द फॉलोइंग सो यहाँ पे सबसे पहले आएगा नेशनल रूरल हेल्थ मिशन उसके बाद में स्वच्छ भारत मिशन देन उसके बाद में प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना लास्ट में अटल इनोवेशन मिशन विल बी द लास्ट वन इसके बाद में है 3142 so neoliberalism that is state is inherently unaffected new public management increase the role of the market and इसके बाद है न्यू इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइजेशन यूटिलिटी ऑफ मैक्सिमाइजेशन एंड द न्यू majoritarian institute that was protecting the banking and budgeting that was the majoritarian okay so this is all now next one is nominal का मतलब क्या होता है that is the qualitative between the variable ordinal का मतलब क्या होता है that was the one value greater than other and interval का मतलब क्या होता है equal distance होती है उसको कहते हैं and ratio का मतलब होता है begin with the absolute zero okay Kumar Mangalam Birla Committee, it was for the corporate governments. So the Kumar Mangalam Committee that was SEBI to improve the corporate and the main objective of the committee corporate government from the shareholder. Which is the following factor are the selecting an officers for the post of the chief secretary. So that was seniority, then service records and last will be the advice of the cabinet secretary. Confidence of the CM will not here. So confidence of the CM, so that will not in this. So chief secretary is the chief advisor of the secretary to the state cabinet and the merit criteria to apply the shortlisting 3 factors and that was merit. Identify the following that interval to evidence based making. Evidence का मतलब सबसे पहले collecting the data, then warehousing facilitate storing the data. देन उसके बाद में इंटीग्रेटिंग द डाटा एंड लास्ट में डिसेमिनेशन ऑफ द टाइमली रोबस्ट इंफॉर्मेशन इंटीग्रेटिंग द डाटा एंड लास्ट में डिसेमिनेशन द टाइमिंग इंफॉर्मेशन विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग वाज रिलेटेड टू द पॉलिसी आउटकम सो दैट वाज 1, 2 and 4 आइडेंटिफाई द टारगेट नहीं आएगा पॉलिसी गोल्स आएंगे देन उसके बाद में आइडेंटिफाई द टारगेट पॉपुलेशन यहाँ नहीं आएगा पॉलिसी गोल्स आएंगे प्रोग्राम आउटकम्स मेजर द इंडिकेटर्स आइडेंटिफाई द टारगेट पॉपुलेशन रिलेटेड टू द पॉलिसी सिलेक्शन नॉट द पॉलिसी के मतलब वो पॉलिसी सिलेक्शन में आता है एंड हियर इज आस्किंग अबाउट द आउटकम सो आउटकम इज नॉट रिलेटेड टू द पॉपुलेशन अरेंज द फॉलोइंग chronologically sequence of the inception in India. First is decentralization of the commission report, then National Extension Service, after then the Committee for Plan and Project of NDC, and last will be the Panchayati Raj. Okay, so first is decentralization, then National Extension. So Decentralization Commission 1909 में National Extension Service that was in 1953 and NDC that was in 1956 and as a deputy chairman भी होता है इसमें project under the head like the irrigation, power, public work and the building of the agriculture. Introduction of Panchayati Raj 1992 73rd Amendment, democracy at the grassroots level. Which of the following is not a feature of survey research? That was give exact measurement of the population. That is not the survey research. So give exact measurement of the population, not a feature of the survey. Survey research means the collection of the informations, and it is used to gain the insight on the specific topic. It is used to draw sample from population. Which of the following is not included in the Mackland theory of need? That was reward. So reward is not in the Mackland theory. Okay, so reward is not included in the Mackland theory of the needs. Human motivation. Everyone is driven from the 1-3 needs. M. Explaining the motivation by concentrating 3 main aspects of the achievement: power, affiliation, and David Mackland theory. That was the human motivation. Which of the following is the proportional tax? That was the goods and service tax. So GST was a proportional tax, and taxable base amount increase or decrease, then this every individual and the entity pay tax at the same rates regardless of the annual income. According to Ricks, which of the following function required for the society? So that was economic, social, and the communication. But religious functions are not in the society. So the Ricks was the comparative, administrative. They are the certain linguistic functions of the society, and that was the economical, social, communication, and political. Sociometric analysis explain which of the following: behavioral, individual, rationality, relationships between the group, and modification of the behavior. So that is the relationship between individual and the group, and that was the sociometric analysis. So sociometric analysis is developed by the Jacob Moreno in the 1942 measure the social relation and group. Sociometric analysis is the technique which measures the social relationship among the individual. It is the study of the interpersonal relationship between the group. Which is the following feature of the geographical information system data? That was 1, 2, and 4. And transferring is not. Capturing, storing, and displaying, but transferring is not included. So geographical indicator data में transferring नहीं आता है, but capturing, storing, and displaying is included in Earth surface. Now research is an activity that lead us to finding what it is finding about. So new fact नहीं आते हैं. Verifying available knowledge, suggesting for the few research, raising the questions भी आएगा, but new fact and information इसमें नहीं आता है. So research and activity leads us to finding out. The research refers to systematic investigation of the discover the new knowledge and text. So verifying, suggesting future research, raising the questions of the what is difficult to understand. Arrange the following in the correct sequence, their evolution in the discipline of public administration. So first was the scientific management, after then social system approach, then motivation, hygiene theory, and last will be the ecological approach. सो मोटिवेशन हाइजीन के बाद में आएगी इकोलॉजिकल, फर्स्ट आएगी साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट. साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट किसका था? टेलर का था, एंड दैट वाज पीस रेट सिस्टम 1895, शॉप फ्लोर मैनेजमेंट, आर्ट ऑफ कटिंग मेटल 1906, एंड द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट 1911. रूट ऑफ द सिस्टम अप्रोच टू पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन द 20th century. सो फ्रेड 1957 यूज द जनरल सिस्टम अप्रोच, अग्रेरिया ट्रांजिटिया, फ्रेडरिक हर्जबर्ग, मोटिवेशन हाइजीन नॉन एज अ 2-factor theory, and motivation in the work 1959, individual motivation to work, outlined the impact of the job satisfaction, ecological approach, that was administration by the Ricks in the 1962. Who among the following coined the term the technostructure? That was the Gilbert. So the economics, John Gilbert was a technostructure. New introduction, it is generally referred to the group of the technique enterprises considering influence of the economy. Indradhanush, that was the immunities, and Amrut program, transferring infrastructure, Digital India, that was a digitalization knowledge, Atal Innovation Mission, that was the culture of the enterprise technology. So the correct matching was given the mission Indradhanush. It was in 2014 Atal Innovation Mission, and now 2015 Digital India 2015, and Atal Innovation Mission, that was in 2016. Who classified the bureaucracy as a representative party, state military dominated and ruler dominated? तो ये किसने दिया था? फेंसोर्ड ने दिया था. So the Merle Fensord was classifying the 5 forms of bureaucracy: ruler dominated, military, ruling, and representative, and the party state bureaucracy. National Commission for Protection of Child Right, established by that what Act of the Parliament. So National Commission for the Child Right in 2007, it was Act of Parliament. Under this, child is defined as a person for the age group of 18 years. Which is the following features: geographic orientation of comparative public administration, that was 1 and 3. Historic episode and the cultural area, but correlational and the regulation नहीं आएगा, historical and the cultural आएगा. ठीक है. Now next one is arrange the following of second ARC report. So यहाँ पर सबसे पहले आएगा राइट टू इन्फॉर्मेशन की ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, देन आएगा अनलॉकिंग द ह्यूमन कैपिटल, देन आएगा क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट, क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट, देन एथिक्स ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, एंड लास्ट विल बी द पब्लिक ऑर्डर. सो एथिक्स के बाद में क्या आ रहा है, यहाँ पर पब्लिक ऑर्डर आ रहा है. सो सबसे पहले आएगा राइट टू इन्फॉर्मेशन एक्ट, देन सेकंड में अनलॉकिंग द ह्यूमन कैपिटल, थर्ड में क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट, एंड फोर्थ में एथिक्स, फिफ्थ में है पब्लिक ऑर्डर, सिक्स में है लोकल गवर्नमेंट, सेवन्थ में कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रिजोल्यूशन, एट्थ में टेररिज्म को कैसे कम्बेट करेंगे, नाइन्थ इज़ फॉर द सोशल कैपिटल, टेंथ इज़ फॉर द रिफर्बिशिंग पर्सनल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, 11th प्रमोटिंग ई गवर्नेंस, 12th इज सिटीजन सेंट्रिक गवर्नमेंट, 13 इज ऑर्गेनाइजिंग स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, 14 for strengthening financial management, and 15 for the state and district administration. Administration main of Herbert Simon. Simon was about the psychological and the rational man. He was talking about the psychological and the rational man. So the concept of administrative man proposed by the Herbert Simon idea of the psychological rational man. In the psychological man concept, individual are drained from the emotions and experience of the rational man. Richard Bendix, he was talking the bureaucratic phenomena. Now Max Weber for the intellectual. Sherdo was talking about the development administration. Michel Crozier, he was talking bureaucratic phenomena, and the Martin, he was talking the reader of the bureaucracy. So reader of the bureaucracy, Martin 1952, bureaucratic phenomena authored by the Crozier 1964, and Weber intellectual portrait 1960 Bendix. So that was given by the Bendix 1960. The term marble cake federalism is used by the cooperative federalism. So marble cake federalism coined by the political scientist of the Goldstein, Morton Goldstein, metaphor of the explain the cooperative federalism in the state, local and the national government. Which is the following considers the discretionary power of the governor. So this is 1 and 4. Appointment of the CM, which no party has been absolute majority, giving assent to the bill of the assembly. Appointment of the speaker नहीं आएगा, and the dismissal of minister भी नहीं आएगा. Appointment of the speaker भी नहीं आएगा, and dismissal of minister भी नहीं आएगा. That was appointment of the CM and the giving assent to the bill to the assembly. So that was if no party gets the absolute majority, the governor his discretion is selection of the CM, withhold his assent with appointment of the CM after no party is majority, and dismissal of council of minister on the inability of the confidence. Under article 356 of constitution, he is president issue the failure of the constitutional machinery, recommend for the imposition of president rule. Under the 167th constitution, he seeks the information from the CM regard to the administration of the matter of the state. Which of the following most appoints empirical research, that was a scientific method. So scientific method is the most appropriate research. Empirical research relies on the gathering the study real observation of the data, and that was the through the experiment that may be the confirmed scientific theory and help to the reasonable. Which is the following is not a feature of the New Deal. So sophistication analysis of social change, that is not the New Deal. The sophistication of the social change, New Deal was a set of the domestic policy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, and it took action to the bring about the economical relief reform in the agriculture and finance. Abolition of diarchy, introduction of provincial autonomy, that was Government of India 1935. Abolition of the diarchy and the system of the double government introduced the Government of India Act. The act was abolition of diarchy and provincial level. Which among the following department look after the banking, insurance and investment? Ministry of Finance, that was the Department of Economical Affairs. So Department of Economical Affairs was the banking, insurance and investment and financial service model. The department also asks in the various investigating governing relating to banking, insurance and pensions and technology of cyber security. Who among the following describe the village nothing but seeing the localism and the den of ignorance that was the Ambedkar. So Ambedkar described the village as nothing but a sink of the localism. Ambedkar was the chairman of the most crucial committee and the drafting the committee for the important committee. The State Finance Commission that was the constitutional authority. The State Finance Commission 74 Amendment. The Finance Commission recommend the principle governing the distribution of the finance between the state and the panchayat. When the obligation of a public servant are above the personal interest, it is called that was the integrity. So when a obligation of the public servant are about the personal interest, then it called the integrity. It is the practice of being honest, transparent and having a strong moral principle. Integrity means that the professional exercise his task, and integrity is the core value for the civil service. Which is the following is case study research. So case study was the in theory नहीं आएगा. It's a study of individual group, field education and field comparative study, but theory construction is not the case study. Arrange the following element of the given the Henry Fayol. So organization, then first is planning, then organization, POCCC आता है, उसके बाद में आएगा कंट्रोल, कमांड एंड लास्ट में आता है कंट्रोल, इसके पहले कमांड, कोऑर्डिनेटिंग एंड लास्ट में आएगा कंट्रोल. ठीक है. सो POCCC में कंट्रोल हमेशा लास्ट में आता है, इससे पहले कोऑर्डिनेशन एंड कमांड आता है. नाउ द कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ वेरियस थिंकर इन्फ्लुएंस द पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एज ए एकेडमिक डिसिप्लिन. सो दैट वाज द 1, 2, 4 and 3. 1 सबसे पहले गुडनाव, देन 2 उर्विक, देन बर्नार्ड एंड लास्ट में आएंगे डहल. ठीक है. नाउ देयर इज द कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ वेरियस थिंकर वाज इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एज ए एकेडमिक डिसिप्लिन. So Wilson viewed the further continued the Frank Goodnow, who is the book Politics and Administration 1900. Goodnow की बुक क्या थी? पॉलिटिक्स एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन 1900 में आई थी. ठीक है. लिनन उर्विक की पुस्तक थी एलिमेंट ऑफ द बिजनेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, दैट वाज इन 1943. उर्विक ने लिखी थी एलिमेंट ऑफ बिजनेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, पेपर ऑफ द साइंस ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. ठीक है. फिर चेस्टर बर्नार्ड की फंक्शन ऑफ एग्जीक्यूटिव 1938 में आई थी एंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मैनेजमेंट आर इम्पोर्टेंट पब्लिकेशन. रॉबर्ट डहल की पुस्तक थी 1942 में चैलेंज ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, क्लेम द साइंस ऑफ आर्टिकल ऑफ द 3 प्रॉब्लम. ओपन सिटी फ्रेमवर्क एंड द यूज ऑफ डिजिटल टूल feedback, that was the Niti Aayog. Open City Framework and the use of digital tool for the feedback was on Niti Aayog in the vision of the new India, and that was activated for the technology. Organized anarchy model. Organized anarchy model was the problem को क्या stream है, political stream and policy stream, but budget stream was not in the organizational anarchy model. Okay, so that is organization anarchy model was considered stream that are the independently one another for the 3 stream: problem, political and policy stream. The origin of organizational development attribute, that was the Kurt Lewin. So organization development was idea of the action research was in that. Arrange the following given tenses linked. So first was the exploitative style, then will be the benevolent स्टाइल, देन कंसल्टेटिव स्टाइल, देन पार्टिसिपेटिव. कंसल्ट के बाद में लास्ट में आएगा पार्टिसिपेटिव स्टाइल. एंसर्स लिख कर आइडेंटिफाई द 4 मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम एंड दैट वाज एक्सप्लॉयटेटिव, बेनेवोलेंट, कंसल्टेटिव एंड पार्टिसिपेटिव. सो हिज स्टडी कन्फर्म फॉर द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द मैनेजमेंट प्रैक्टिस. Which is the following thinker are the associated with the comparative public administration? It was Gladen and the Christopher, but Ralph Raffaelli and the Hardy will not be there. So it was Gladen and the Christopher. So Gladen and Christopher Hood, he is not associated with the comparative administration. Riggs considered father of the comparative administration, public admin comparative perspective, improved work by the Farrell Hardy, and the pioneer of the comparative administration movement was Ralph Benty and the Milton S. Main, Farrell Hardy, John Montgomery and the Riggs, and Siffin and the Waldo. Now appropriation bill 204 is Constitution of India deal with the appropriation bill. 205 Constitution of India that was deal with the supplementary and additional grant. So supplementary additional grant was a 205, and 206 is Constitution India deal with the vote of account and vote on credit. So vote on account and vote on credit. And 207 Constitution India deal with the special provision for the finance bill. So special provision for the finance bill, that was 207. Who among the following were the finance minister in the government of India? So that was the K. Shanmugam Chetty, Charan Singh and Madhu Dawat, but Subramaniam Swamy was not in that. Okay, identify the chronological order which is the following texts were introduced in India. So first will be the income tax, then will be the central sale tax, then will be the wealth tax, then will be the value added tax. Okay, so that was the central value added tax, and it was stage of supply chain. Panchayati Raj Day, that was in the 24 April. Civil Service Day, that was the 21 April. And Good Governance Day, that was the 25 December. And Earth Day, that was the 22 April. Arrange the following sampling process of the sequence. So sampling process was first was the sampling को फ्रेम करना है, देन उसके बाद में हमें साइज देखना है सैम्पल का, देन उसके बाद में हमें चॉइस देखनी है सैम्पल की, देन उसके बाद में आइडेंटिफाई करने हैं क्या टारगेट्स हैं, लास्ट में आएगा कलेक्शन ऑफ द सैम्पल डाटा. ठीक है. नाउ हु इज द फॉलोइंग कॉइन्ड द टर्म ऑफ द सेल्फ एक्चुअलाइजेशन? दैट वाज कुर्ट गोल्डस्टीन वाज नोन एज द सेल्फ एक्चुअलाइजेशन. Hierarchy theory, Maslow. And self-actualization refers to realizing the fourfold potential, becoming everything you have capable to becoming. The rational budgeting system concerns the input, output, and outcome. That was a planning program budgeting system. Rational budgeting system concerns input, output, outcomes, and the cost-benefit alternatives. So, planning, programming, budgeting system of the source designed to improve the government efficiency and goals. The extent of the span of control determined, that was the management ability, quality, nature, and the effectiveness of the communication. So management ability, quality, nature, and the effective communication all. Identify the current sequence of the public policy. Public policy में सबसे पहले public policy को analyze करना, strategic plan बनाना, then rational choice model, and last में technology assessment करना. ठीक है. So that was about the public choice theory. लिंडगॉम ने दी थी. आइडिया ऑफ द रैशनैलिटी हैज़ बीन द मेन स्टडी ऑफ द पॉलिसी डिसीजन मेकिंग. रैशनल चॉइस इंट्रोड्यूस द इकोनॉमिक्स एडम स्मिथ एंड रैशनल अप्रोच द आइडिया ऑफ द इकोनॉमिकल ग्रू द इकोनॉमिकल थ्योरी. द पेरिस काउंसिल ए लोकल गवर्नमेंट, दैट वाज द इंग्लैंड में. सो पेरिस काउंसिल वाज गिवन, दैट वाज लोकल गवर्नमेंट एंड इट वाज right served to the Paris rural for the district and urban. Under which of the following article constitution of the provision for the passage of the appropriation bill? It was article 144 114, the soon of the May after being the grants, and that was the grant made by the House of People, expenditure charge on the consolidated fund of India but not exceeding the case amount shown in the statement. So no amendment shall be proposed to any such bill in the either House of Parliament. Charge on the consolidated fund of India and decision of the person presiding or whether the amendment. So subject of the provision of article 115 and 6 is no money shall be withdrawn India except under the appropriation made by the court. Which is the following method useful in the study of organization behavior? So participation, observation, non-participation, and interval, but historical method was not in that. Now next one, administration as a stabilizing society. Guardian is given by the Paul Piger. Chief function of the administrative should be the facilitate, and that was by the Adam Brook. The breakdown of the examination for the breakdown of the civilization, and that was the Walson Donham. Admin the key to the enduring and power for the great society, that was the Beard. National Commission for the Protection of the Child Right, it was 2007. Protection of the children from the sexual offence, and that was 2012. Central Social Welfare Board is 1953. Child marriage prohibiting 2006. Niti Aayog is a policy process for the providing the policy advice. So Niti is to provide the strategic vision for the government. Niti is via the revolution of the new public service theory. Public servants are responsible for the citizen. So new public services start with the premise of the focus of public management should be citizen, community and civil. The primary role of the public servant is to help the citizen for the meet their shared interest. Committee for the metropolitan planning, that was the 2ZE. Committee for district planning was ZD. Audit and account, that was Z. And election, ZA. To understand the pattern of regularity in the administration, enhance the theory of the constructive. Which one of the following is helpful? That was the cultural study is helpful. To understand the patterns in the administration, enhance the theory. Cross-cultural management, behavioral management, and that was training and education program can be used for the overcome the problem and reduce the work for the effectively. Arrange the following 4 stage of the cycle. So first will be the mitigation, then will be the preparedness, then response, and last में आएगा recovery. Authority for the right to giving the order. Responsibility, that was the obligation to fulfill that something. Centralization, decision making at the top level, and the scalar process, that was the clear line of authority for the top to bottom. Evidence based policy making suggested for the new India includes the national data sharing and data integration, explaining the warehousing, but collection of the data for the measurement, that is not included in that. Group model was given by the system of force, the pushing against one another. System model, that was the cyclical and unending होता है, and the institutional model, that was organization chart होता है SMAC, and the elite model जो होता है member share the common value, that was the elite model. Which is the following is the value addition in the public administration, the creation of connected system that facilitate better decision making, that was interoperability. Interoperability is a value addition in the public administration through the creation of connected system facilitate the better decision making and better coordination. Which is following not a feature of development administration. So 1 and 2, focus of the organization and promote the socialization is not, but client orientation and the promote the administrative change was not there. So focus of the organization promote the socialization was not in that. Okay, so development administration कैसा होता है, फोकस होगा और प्रमोट द सोशलाइजेशन, दैट 2 थिंग विल नॉट बी देयर. क्लाइंट ओरिएंटेड होता है और एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव चेंज भी आएगा. ये चेंज ओरिएंटेड है, रिजल्ट ओरिएंटेड है, क्लाइंट ओरिएंटेड है, सिटीजन पार्टिसिपेशन है, कमिटेड टू द फुलफिल द पब्लिक डिमांड है, एंड कंसर्न विद द इनोवेशन. Which is the following is the correct about the incremental paradigm public policy model, that was it say that policy maker consider and implement the changes, so that is not in that. It was proposed a child income disjoint incrementalism, and the paradigm was more political rather than the social value. Now next, which is the following is not a public sector undertaking, so Videsh Sanchar Nigam was in not that. So Tata Communication Limited was known as the that Nigam but Indian Telecommunication Company was not in the public sector. Company owned by the government, usually with the government holdings, 51% of the company share, and that was the drugs, pharmaceutical and subsidiary. Hindustan Authority Limited was also intersectoral administration, that was the purpose of achieving a specific policy goal, and that was relationship between the part of the different sector. Which is the following not about the Commission for the Linguistic Minority. The name of the office was commended by the state reorganization, that is not true, and the commission is responsible for the minority, that is not true. Office of the Commission for the Linguistic Minority and the headquarters of the commission office is a Prayagraj, but name of the office recommend the state reorganization, that is not true, and the commission is responsible for minority, that is also not true. Linear programming is the mathematical technique to limit the resources. So the linear programming was given. This process used to help to the make the decisions and use the limited resources like money, material, machine. The book Modernization of the Bureaucracy of the Thailand, that was the Rix की थी ये. So it was by the Rix 1966 and traced the changes and taken to the administration taken to the close look into the contemporary government of the bureaucratic quality. Provident Fund is a social security scheme. It is included in the public account. So Provident Fund scheme, okay, small saving is also. Now Wazir, so Wazir is head of the village होता है. मुकद्दम, sorry, Wazir is a revenue का होता है. Mukaddam head of the village, and the Kajil Kujat, that was the justice, and the Mir Bakshi, it was for the intelligence. So Mir Bakshi, that was for the intelligence, okay. Mir Bakshi, it's a military, so included the intelligence also. Which is the following not a paradigm in the public policy making? Power regulation is not in that. So power regulation, that is not in the public policy making, okay, and constitute a tool to specify the understand the guiding principles step for the creating the public policy. Elderly in the India report, and that was a Ministry of Statistical and the program implementation. The president rule was first imposed by the Punjab. So article 365 failed to comply with the given effect of the direction given by the executive of the union. Under any of the provision, it shall be the lawful for the president whole situation. Bharatiya model of inclusive development, that was सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, सबका प्रयास, okay. The characteristics of the experimental model, that was it follows the law of multiple variable नहीं आएगा. It is a laboratory method. It follows the scientific method and research purpose for the check the something in the research. Now 91 में क्या आएगा? ये एक पैराग्राफ है जिससे पढ़ना था. ए वेल फॉर्मुलेटेड पॉलिसी वुड बी प्रैक्टिकल विद. अगर वेल फॉर्मुलेटेड पॉलिसी है तो वर्किंग विद द ब्यूरोक्रेटिक रूल नहीं आएगा. यूजिंग डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म प्रैक्टिकल सॉल्यूशंस होंगे एंड बैलेंस बिटवीन द इकोनॉमिक एंड द इक्विटेबल सोशल डेवलपमेंट होगा. न्यू सोशल मूवमेंट इन इंडिया, दैट वाज नोन एज द एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन ग्रुप लाए थे, ठीक है. विच इज़ द फॉलोइंग एक्सप्लेन द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन सोशल थ्योरी एंड द पॉलिसी इन इंडिया. सोशल थ्योरी में कॉलोनियल सेटिंग नहीं आता है. कॉम्प्लेक्स सोशल स्ट्रक्चर, डाइवर्स कल्चर एंड द हिस्टोरिकल, बट कॉलोनियल विल नॉट बी देयर. B. R. Ambedkar, M. N. Srinivasan realizing which is the following. So they realizing about the social mobility and social stratification. Social planning and social discontent नहीं आएगा. Mobility and the stratification आएगा. Which is the following imparted the shape the policy, that was identified the moment feminist theory, globalization and policy initiation. Now next one is a well formulated policy would be practical with, that will be the practical working with the bureaucratic rule, that is not true. Balance between economical growth and equitable social development, identify the practical solution and using the digital, but working with the bureaucratic rule, that is not true. न्यू सोशल मूवमेंट ये देख लिया था हमने. सो नाउ नेक्स्ट वन अगेन एक पैराग्राफ है, इसमें से आंसर देने थे. डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन नोट अबाउट इंटीग्रेशन अमंग द स्टेट एंड नॉन स्टेट एक्टर. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू द पैसेज बताना है कि डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्या नहीं है. सो दैट इज़ नॉट इंटरेक्शन अमंग द स्टेट एंड नॉन स्टेट. विच इज़ द फॉलोइंग कंसर्न मॉडर्न गवर्नमेंट. तो मॉडर्न गवर्नमेंट जो होती है, दैट वाज नॉट टू प्रमोट द मार्केट, दैट इज़ नॉट ट्रू. ट्रांसपेरेंसी, पार्टिसिपेशन एंड रूल ऑफ लॉ. Which is the following concern with the development administration, it is nation building. So जो nation building है इससे related होता है development administration, okay. Which is the following related development initiative under the governance. Under the governance में आएगा 1, 3 and 4. Organization status क्यों नहीं आएगा? Knowledge management, institution reform and the professional, but status क्यों नहीं आएगा, ठीक है. Which is the following explain the contemporary government. So 1, 2 and 4. फोकस ऑफ नेशन बिल्डिंग तो नहीं आएगा. इंटर रिलेशन बिटवीन द सोसाइटल कंसर्न विद द कोलैबोरेशन एंड कंसर्न विद द ट्रांसपेरेंसी, बट नेशन बिल्डिंग इज़ नॉट पार्ट ऑफ दैट. सो दिस इज़